Hi and welcome to another week of Mashup. I'm Ariel.
And I'm Scott. We've got a great episode for you all this week. Coming up on today's show, we take a step back in time even.
Yes.
And get a history lesson on Melbourne's Captain Cook's Cottage.
Yes.
And Melbourne's iconic trams.
Beautiful. We also go behind the scenes and check out the world of indie game development.
But first we take a serious look at life on the streets and the struggles that Melbourne's homeless face on a daily basis.
75,000 people that are homeless in streets, parks, have no money for food. It's not right.
My parents died when I was 3 years old. I was put in child protection. Within 13 years of being in child protection, I went through 120 foster families. Everyone who abused me, I ended up running away.
I'm homeless at the moment, but I'm trying to find accommodation. I've been sleeping rough, I've been sleeping here, but I'm trying to get a place to stay and I want to as soon as possible. Hopefully this week I'll be off the streets. So that's my story.
The department was financially supporting me. The day I turned 18, they all financial support or housing for empty seats. I then had to defend for myself, which was living on the streets, finding ways to get food.
I'm here to support the homeless people, and I'm showing you this because there is not enough beds, there is not enough funding. We all sleep on streets, and the time has come to stop and think, well, the homeless people need to be in shelters. This is what I'm doing. Get as much signatures as I can until they get the message.
If I haven't got an income, they cannot put me in housing. If I have a birth certificate, I'll be right, but
I've been trying to find a place to stay. There's not enough services to provide that.
I rely on donations or the sale of my own vans daily to raise enough money to get a motel.
We need to help. I feel hurt for the homeless. People sleep in parks, and it's just tragic.
People walk past and they sit there and they judge me and thinking that I want to drugs or alcohol but not actually stopping to know my whole story and trying to understand.
Get the homeless off the street and let's try and help them. They need more services, more blankets. People just can't sleep on streets. This is beyond a joke. I go around the streets and give food out to homeless.
Don't just there to come up and have a yarn or donate or buy something. Sometimes I sit up at Melbourne Centre here, but Friday and Saturday nights I'm on the corner of Elizabeth and the Centre at 7-Eleven.
I'm Simon Zlatkin, and it's very lovely to speak to you.
If you'd like more information on how you can get involved and help, head to melbournecitymission.org.au. We'll be right back after the break.
Welcome back. Now, if you're a video game fanatic, you're going to love our next story because we're going to take a behind-the-scenes look at the world of indie game development.
Ooh, sounds interesting. I've always wondered what goes into making video games come to life.
Yeah,
We'll have to check it out.
Studio Grow is a small independent game development company based in Melbourne.
My name's Jacob, so I have kind of fallen into the role of a bit of a director, but I also do a lot of the character development. I designed all the characters and I 3D modeled them and animated them and all that kind of stuff, so I've sort of built up the characters.
I'm Andrew. I guess I call myself a game designer. I mostly do level design, modelling like game objects like food, obstacles in the game.
I'm Tim. I'm the programmer and I'm also have a tendency to be in charge of putting assets together in the game.
We have another team member as well. He is not here at the moment. That's John. He did a bit of the design and art as well.
Yeah, he did bits of level design, bits of texture. Basically, a lot of what I do as well. He mostly focuses on the particle effects and stuff in the game as well, though.
And sounds.
And sounds. That's right. Of course,
Yeah.
sound.
What is it like to be an independent game developer in Melbourne?
I mean, Melbourne has a very sort of vibrant indie community. So there's a lot of like events and things like that going on. There is a lot of development as well, certainly. And due to the way that the industry's sort of gone, where we were getting, like the game development industry sort of built up quite a while ago when we were first starting to learn how to make games. The game industry was sort of going quite well in Australia. It was starting up. We were getting a lot of work from overseas. It was sort of like the industry was almost 100% focused on overseas work, and that was the majority of the games industry in Australia was that. So you could go get a job at somewhere like Blue Tongue or Chrome or something like that, and that was, I think, what began Australia's interest in games, was seeing how much money was coming into the country. But then, of course, the Australian dollar took over, sort of went ahead of the US dollar, and a lot of those companies closed down, which meant that there's this massive industry and this massive interest in games and this love of games in Australia, but there's not really any jobs. So yeah, it's not uncommon to be an indie in Melbourne, I think, for games at least. A lot of people do it in really different ways. You have, like, I think the Arcade opened recently in Melbourne, which is sort of like a collaborative space for making games. A lot of people work. A few people we know work there. So there's a lot of sort of support. And we've got the IGDA, which is the Independent Game Developers Association, and they're very active here. They're probably more active here than anywhere else I've seen. I've always found the Australian IGDA to be probably the most active and the most passionate and the biggest probably. It's probably got one of the biggest IGDAs, and they run a lot of events. They sort of organise GCAP, which is on at the moment. So there's a lot of those kind of things. And I mean, obviously we have PAX here, which is like, they obviously picked Melbourne and Australia for a reason, because it has a massive indie scene, it has a very passionate game development scene. There's a lot of unique stuff coming from Australia. So it's a great place to be working as an independent developer. It isn't a great place to be working if you don't want to be an independent developer.
And that is the other downside of developing in Melbourne. There's a lot of great social support, but in terms of financial support, like publishers and other ways of finding money,
jobs.
There's like jobs in the games industry. There's really not a lot around. It's kind of tough. And that probably is the biggest downside. It'd be nice if there was a bit more, money around and jobs and publishers wanting to, pick people up. But that's something that you can't really change. It's something that I guess will change naturally as the industry changes, especially around Melbourne.
It depends on which angle you're coming from as to whether or not you think the industry's good. If you want to be an independent developer, then Melbourne's fantastic. If you want to be have a job, you want to be maybe part of more professional industry, then you definitely want to look anywhere other than Melbourne, really. I think.
Not necessarily Melbourne, but I think
other than Australia.
Yeah, Australia is definitely weak in terms of employment in the games industry.
That was really cool. What are some of your favourite video games?
Well, that would imply that I play video games.
Ah.
So it's been a while since I played a video game, but when I was growing up, I would play Grand Theft Auto, which was stacks of fun. I was in high school when what's it called? Grand Theft Auto. GTA 3 came out. I played that, and I used to play a game called Assassin. I think it's called Assassin, which was stacks of fun. But when I was younger, when I was really, really young, I used to play Duck Hunt. Do you remember Duck Hunt?
No.
Oh, come on, Duck Hunt was the best. It was on like a Nintendo, and you'd have like a gun that you'd plug into the console, and you'd literally like line it up with the ducks flying across the screen. It was the best game. I loved it so much.
Any of those things.
But I had a tendency to cheat a little bit with Duck Hunt, because I'd just go up and put my gun to the screen.
Oh, that's okay. You were just a little tight.
I was like 3 or 4.
Oh
man, I love Duck Hunt so much. I would love to play it again.
Well, I think when I was over at friends' houses, we'd play things like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
But that's all I know.
That's
We'd
it?
build cubby houses and stuff. We didn't really play games.
Okay, you built cubby houses.
Cubby houses.
You built them.
We built them.
How did you build a cubby house? How old were you? Got like a minor in construction?
Perhaps we'd like cover the floor in moss that we picked out from the...
From moss? Did you grow up in a forest?
Bushes.
Where were you?
We had a really big backyard. Anyway,
Okay, sure.
no video games, no. Oh wow, we'll be right back after this break.
Now, Ariel, I have a little bit of a history question for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. Why did Captain Cook sail to Australia?
Sounds more like a joke.
Well, it's a joke, yes
Oh,
it is,
okay.
but
Why,
it sounds
Scott?
more like a joke to me.
Why?
Because it's too far to swim.
Oh, well done.
Thank you. Now, on that note, let's take a step back in time and learn a little bit more about Captain Cook's cottage.
Although originally built in Yorkshire in 1755, Cook's Cottage is now the oldest building in Australia and a popular Melbourne tourist attraction. Built by the parents of Captain James Cook, it's doubtful Captain Cook ever lived there, but he most certainly would have visited his mum and dad in it. The cottage was brought to Melbourne by Sir Russell Grimrod in 1934. Astonishingly, each brick was individually numbered, packed into barrels and then shipped to Australia. Cuttings from the ivory that adorned the house were also taken and planted when the house was re-erected in Melbourne. Recently, an English cottage garden has been established around the house, further adding to its period of reconstruction.
That was great. It got me in the mood to learn more about Melbourne's history.
Now, I'm wondering, have you actually been to Captain Cook's cottage?
No.
Yeah, I've got to go.
Really?
I haven't been for years and years and years personally, but I'm got such fond memories of going there when I was a kid.
Oh, really?
It's
So it's a good thing to bring kids to.
yeah, or
then.
kids or adults. It's really interesting, and it's like
Yeah.
a cute little cottage, and it's really small, and you can
cool.
look at, how he lived, and it's fascinating. I can remember going there, going through it as a child, and thinking, because it's a a captain's cottage, you just automatically assume that you're going to find some treasure there.
Oh
Yeah.
That I took my niece to the Sea Shepherd ships, and she still thinks that she went
in
to a
Williamstown.
pirate ship, and I just think that's really cool.
Yes.
So same sort of thing. Yeah.
Now, if you're in the mood for a little bit more history, we're going to learn about Melbourne's iconic trams. So let's take a look.
This iconic building was built for the Hawthorn Tramways Trust and opened in 1916. Located at the junction of Power Street and Wallen Road, Hawthorn. The depot initially consisted of a 3-story building, together with a 4-road tram shed located behind. The depot ran the city to Wattle Park, City of Burwood, and Richmond to Power Street tram services. Hawthorn continued to operate as a running depot, but acquired the tram driver and conductor schools in 1925, and in the 1940s the uniform factory. The increase of car traffic saw a declining need for the public transport carried by trams, so Hawthorn Depot was closed as a running depot in 1965 and used only for storage of surplus tram cars and for tram cars required for operation of the driver training school. In the early 90s, the manufacture of uniforms was contracted out to commercial suppliers and driver training was returned to individual depots, so the building seemed doomed to decay and abandonment. In 1996, the depot was included on the Victorian Heritage Register and soon after was offered for redevelopment. The redevelopment completed in 2002 included the innovative conversion of the main depot building to residential units and the building of new residential units at the rear of the depot site. As part of the same development, the original shed was restored and given a new lease of life in January 2003, when it was officially opened as the Melbourne Tram Museum to house Melbourne's heritage tram fleet.
You know, y'all gotta make people excited so that they come out, because I'm getting tired. All right, ladies and gentlemen, introducing the first round.
In 2014, Deng and Mayum held these fashion shows in Brisbane, Sydney, and one recently in Melbourne at the 29th of August 2014 at Adir Croatian's Catholic Centre at Sunshine West of Melbourne, Victoria.
Fast tempo, right. Yo, man, 110. We meet over there, right? Yeah. Hey, yo, it's a rough tune, you know. Man, self-sudan dancer. She said she like, she said she like. Yeah, this is the girl, she dancing on it. You know, said she like big banana.
Now, don't forget, as always, you can find Mashup Melbourne on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Instagram. Did I say that?
You already said that. YouTube? Did you miss that one?
You can find us on the internet. You can find Ariel and myself as well. You can look up at Scott Winfield on Twitter or Instagram, and there I'll be. What about yourself, Ariel? What's yours?
Yes, it's kind of embarrassing.
Is it at Ariel Simone? That would make sense.
It's not. My
it isn't.
Twitter handle is eat_my_bubbles with a Z.
With a Z as well?
Yes. It's a quote from Finding Nemo.
I see.
It's kind of like a catch me if you can sort of reference.
Makes perfect sense to me.
Yes. Of course it does. Unfortunately, that's it for another week of Mashup. Thanks for tuning in. And now to take us out is Lace and Whiskey with their track Rest in Pieces.
Bye, guys.
See you next week.